This woman always feels that there is someone staring at her when taking a bath. When she turns her head to check, the man in the hood has already disappeared. After Aliyah cleaned up, she blew her hair. Suddenly she found that the power in the home was cut off, and she could only stop blowing her hair. At this time, there was a noise coming from outside. Aliyah groped to the living room with the help of the mobile phone lighting. Suddenly, there was another noise from the closet. Aliyah opened the row of closets in front of her one by one to find the sound source. Until she found the last closet, Aliyah discovered the circuit breaker switch inside. When she got up, she accidentally dropped her mobile phone on the ground. Aliyah hurriedly bent over to pick it up after she just got the phone. Suddenly, she found a masked man behind her. Aliyah was so scared that she hid in the utility room on the second floor. When she was praying in a state of panic, suddenly the door was opened from the outside. She thought she was doomed. When she saw Ryan's face, she immediately dropped tears helplessly. Under Ryan's patient comfort, Aliyah regained her composure. She led Ryan to find the circuit breaker, and Ryan gently pushed it up, and the room became bright again. Aliyah hurriedly described the scene of the masked men she encountered. Ryan thought Aliyah was seeing things and didn't take this matter to heart. Suddenly, the door was knocked again. Ryan directly opened the door. He found the girl not far away and was completely angry after thinking that the other party intended to play a prank. So Ryan ran to the girl and swore, and then hurriedly comforted Aliyah to go back to the house to eat hamburgers. Because Ryan ate so unseemly and his face was covered with sauce, Aliyah couldn't bear it and waited for her. However, after a while, she found that bright red liquid was splattered everywhere. Ryan also noticed the abnormality at this time. The two lovers tacitly looked up. Suddenly, they found a dead bird hanging on the lamp. After Ryan realized the danger, quickly asked Aliyah to close the doors and windows with him. Suddenly, a hole was split in the wooden door by an axe. The man in the hood just looked at the couple from the gap. The two immediately realized the danger and hurriedly hid upstairs. The man in the hood quickly opened the door. At this time, the couple hid in the bedroom and blocked the door with a heavy cabinet. As the two masked men in the room also started to come out and move around as the man in the hood broke in. Under the horrified gaze of the couple, the man in the hood split the door with an axe, but didn't break in. There was also the sound of the door closing downstairs. The two thought the other party had left, so they discussed to escape here by motorcycle. The two tiptoed down the stairs. Ryan found his mobile phone, but found that it had been smashed. After that, he hurriedly threw down the mobile phone, let Aliyah out of the house. When the two approached the motorcycle, unexpectedly, the motorcycle exploded on the spot. Through the firelight, they saw the man in the hood with an axe not far away, walking towards them. The two hurriedly hid in the bathroom. The other party obviously also enjoyed the process of hunting and was not in a hurry to deal with them. Ryan used this breathing time to find a knife. Aliyah immediately snatched it and pried open the mesh on the side. They slowly climbed into the pipe filled with dust. In order to prevent scaring the snake, Aliyah, enduring her fear of the rats, and signaled Ryan to keep calm and pointed to the rat that had already climbed onto Ryan's shoulder. Ryan endured the discomfort and shook it off. However, after a while, because Aliyah's palm was pierced through by a nail, she let out a painful cry. Because she was worried about being discovered, she swallowed the moan abruptly. Ryan hurriedly hugged Aliyah to comfort. The masked man seemed to notice, carrying a knife and standing above the floor, after Ryan waited for the footsteps above to go further and further away. He quickly helped Aliyah pull out the nail that pierced the palm and tore the fabric of his own clothes to bandage Aliyah's wound. After the two successfully escaped the house, they quickly walked towards the tool shed nearby. Ryan was accidentally tripped by a stone during the escape. Not only did the ankle sprain, but also lost the life-saving medicine. It was completely dark inside, and it was impossible to see the layout inside at all. Fortunately, Aliyah carried a lighter with her. However, a masked man was standing behind them, but they didn't notice it at all. After Ryan got a pickaxe, he instructed Aliyah to sit near the window and guard. He then walked into the second floor through a small staircase. Aliyah suddenly found that there was someone shaking outside the window. Suddenly, the window glass shattered. The man in the hood reached in through the gap and strangled Aliyah's neck. Fortunately, Ryan came with a shotgun at the critical moment. After he drove the two gangsters away, he hurriedly comforted Aliyah. After having the shotgun, they began to walk into the two rooms side by side. Ryan sensed that there was a person in the corridor by listening to the sound and positioning. She signaled Aliyah to stay where she was. Then Ryan tiptoed to the corridor. After a gunshot, when Aliyah went over to check, suddenly found that the deceased didn't wear a mask. There was also a maintenance tool beside it. She immediately realized that Ryan had killed the wrong person. Aliyah called the owner of the house, asked her to come and repair the refrigerator. Now the two are completely dumbfounded The couple didn't care that much either. Ryan picked up the key of the homeowner, ready to take Aliyah and run away. Ryan didn't forget to bring the shotgun before leaving. After the two Saturday in the car, suddenly the side window of the car was smashed by a masked man. Fortunately, Ryan started the car in time, and just when the two thought they had escaped, they directly crashed the two people's car into a tree. Then there were successive violent collisions. The two people whose car doors were stuck couldn't get out of the car at this time. Aliyah didn't want to wait to die and climbed out of the window. When she was about to pull Ryan out, she found that Ryan's feet were stuck. Aliyah could only escape alone. Ryan raised his shotgun at this time and was ready to have a showdown with the man in the hood. When Ryan warily patrolled around, the man in the hood suddenly appeared and smashed the windshield in front of Ryan. Ryan took the opportunity to fire a shot and scared the bald man away. He hurriedly used the gun but to destroy the broken windshield. Then he struggled to pull out his stuck legs. He immediately held the shotgun and walked forward warily. Aliyah ran into the dense forest. The masked man is approaching step by step. She hid in a deadwood and successfully avoided the search of the masked man. Aliyah hurriedly called the police. Fortunately, the signal was strong at this time. The phone was connected quickly. Suddenly, the phone's signal was interfered. Aliyah could only raise her arm to try to find the signal, but suddenly found the skeleton that had been eaten by insects beside. Aliyah endured the urge to scream as the signal was completely cut off. Aliyah could only leave here and move on, but was ambushed by the masked man. The masked man knocked Aliyah unconscious after dragging her forward slowly. At this time, Ryan was aimlessly looking for Aliyah. Don't know that he has been targeted yet. The call of the man in the hood attracted his attention. At this time, he had some signs of illness, so he immediately hid beside the stump and tried to slow his breathing. Ryan suddenly found a plastic bottle beside him. He immediately poured out the water in the bottle, then twisted the bottle into a twist, then blew into the mouth of the bottle in a big gulp. After waiting for the symptoms to ease, he got up again. He used a diversionary tactic to circle behind the masked man and then held the gun barrel against the other's head and forced him to put down the knife, and turned around and questioned about the whereabouts of Aliyah. Suddenly the other laughed wildly, but unexpectedly, the masked man came over and directly knocked him unconscious. When the two woke up, they were back in the wooden cabin again. They were tied together. Both Ryan and Aliyah couldn't help but shed tears. When Ryan took this opportunity to propose to Aliyah and got the affirmative reply from the other side, Ryan's kidney was directly stabbed after the masked man kicked the seriously injured Ryan down. He immediately spat out blood and closed his eyes. Aliyah couldn't help but shed painful tears as she watched Ryan die in front of her. Aliyah realized that she had no chance of survival. After she cursed the murderers, she was sentenced to death. Suddenly they heard the police siren approaching from far and near and hurriedly drove away. Aliyah saved a life because of timely rescue. This man noticed something eerie while flying on a plane. His thumbnail suddenly turned black. Then the water bottle in his hand started to quickly deflate. A sense of foreboding washed over him. At the same time, a flight attendant on the other side also noticed something unusual. She immediately sat her down in a passenger seat and yelled for everyone to fasten their seat belts. Sure enough, the plane experienced severe turbulence the next second. Thankfully, after some intense shaking, the plane stabilized again. They thought they had avoided a disaster, not knowing this was just the beginning of the incident. A middle-aged passenger in the back suddenly felt unwell and started breathing heavily. The flight attendant quickly went over to check on him, but the man couldn't speak a word. Nick, who was a doctor, rushed over, but even he had never seen such symptoms before. Soon, the man started vomiting blood and screaming uncontrollably before losing all signs of life. The captain notified San Francisco Airport and confirmed the identity of the deceased passenger. Since this was an international long-haul flight, the plane still had over 8 hours to go. To calm the remaining passengers, the captain decided to clear out the upper deck of the economy class to temporarily place the body there. However, as the crew carried the body upstairs, a long-haired man stared at the dead man's watch. The flight attendants covered the body with a blanket and fastened the seatbelt. Not long after, when a flight attendant was serving tea, she suddenly found a tooth on the deceased's chair. She remembered that the man had been desperately clawing at his mouth before he died. Just then, steam from the teapot passed over the seat, revealing a bloody handprint on the armrest. The cup on the table started shaking again, and the plane was hit by another bout of turbulence. Before anyone could react, someone was thrown from their seat. A woman using the restroom was flown to the ceiling. Oxygen masks dropped down quickly. The woman tried to get out but couldn't open the side door. Some people who couldn't put on their masks in time had already lost consciousness. Nick held his breath and helped a mother and daughter put on their oxygen masks. Fortunately, after a series of critical situations, the plane stabilized once more and the oxygen levels returned to normal. The captain then informed everyone that a storm had damaged a seal, causing a pressure issue in the cabin. The only solution was to lower the plane's altitude to ensure sufficient oxygen. A flight attendant promptly found an unconscious girl in the restroom. She immediately brought oxygen and revived the girl. After 2 consecutive crises, everyone was on edge. However, the bizarre events that followed were even more terrifying. First, a girl watching a movie saw a horrifying scene reflected on her laptop screen. Meanwhile, the long-haired man, unnoticed by others, sneaked to the upper deck. The dead man's skin was starting to rot, but the man didn't mind at all. He took off the watch and even proudly recorded his actions on his phone. The flight attendant was working when she noticed something terrifying. There seemed to be something outside the plane's window. Curious, she went to the window to take a closer look. To her shock, she saw a fighter jet flying alongside the passenger plane. She thought her eyes were playing tricks on her, as though she didn't pay much attention to it. Meanwhile, Nick also noticed something strange while watching a movie. The movie suddenly switched to another scene. A mysterious man was walking on the wing of the plane. On the other side, the flight attendant noticed that the long-haired man was missing. A nearby female passenger said he seemed to have gone to the upper deck. So, the 2 flight attendants cautiously went upstairs. Strangely, they couldn't find the long-haired man or the dead body. The 2 women were terrified. They immediately ran to report the situation to the captain. 1 living person and 1 dead person. Could they have escaped by jumping out of a window? Suddenly, a girl in the restroom noticed a wisp of white smoke coming from under her feet. The dead man was crawling up from the floor. Soon, all the passengers learned that someone was missing on the plane. They all started helping to look for the missing person. Nick unexpectedly found the dead man's suitcase. Inside, there were several samples of women's hair. Each hair sample likely represented a deceased girl. Next, they discovered a strange wooden box. When they opened it, they found a frightening doll inside. According to the instructions, they learned it was a Grim Reaper doll. The deceased man worked in this industry. Sally, standing nearby, seemed to understand this culture well. She told everyone that in Japanese mythology, the Grim Reaper is another term for the angel of death. Only by letting go of the past can one face everything calmly. The girl continued explaining for a long time. Everyone listened in horror. Unable to find the missing person, the flight attendant decided to check the storage compartment. She carefully climbed down the ladder. After searching for a while, she found a large suitcase. She inexplicably decided to open the zipper. Oh my God! Another flight attendant heard something unusual. She turned around and saw white smoke coming from the storage compartment. The scream attracted everyone's attention. When they reached the upper deck, they saw the flight attendant standing there in fear. They panicked and ran downstairs. Only Sally seemed to realize something. She sat her day on the floor, staring ahead. Strangely, a girl who looked exactly like her walked toward her. Meanwhile, the others discovered the cockpit door was open. They opened it and were instantly terrified by what they saw. The captain and co-pilot had long lost consciousness. They also found the dead girl in the restroom. They had no idea what had happened. They quickly returned to the cabin they were sitting in. It suddenly dawned on them that another dead version of themselves was sitting in their seats. It turned out they had already lost their lives in that storm. At this moment, Sally's words echoed in their ears again. The plane's TV was broadcasting the news. A spokesperson was telling reporters that Flight 7500 had encountered severe turbulence on its way to Tokyo. It soon lost contact with the ground. They suspected the turbulence caused a seal to break, leading to rapid depressurization in the cabin. This resulted in a tragic disaster. Since the plane still had 5 hours of fuel left, they sent fighter jets to track the passenger plane. Unfortunately, they found no signs of life. Upon hearing this, everyone finally understood everything, but it was too late. They could only accept this tragic reality. The man intentionally spread his legs, using his body as bait to lure the wolf pack. When the wolf king led the pack to approach, the man pretended to be scared and waved his hands to drive them away. But in reality, he secretly activated a preset trap. As the wolf king charged, the noose suddenly tightened, hoisting the wolf king into the air. Struggling simultaneously, a CIA predator drone tracked the man via thermal signals, ready to launch a missile at him. In the snow, the man quickly chased away the remaining wolves, then tackled the wolf king to the ground. Grabbing its neck to incapacitate it, he pried open the wolf's mouth with a small stick and spat a locator into its throat. As he ran to a safe distance, the drone operator fired a heat-seeking missile. With a loud explosion, fire erupted behind Alan, killing the wolf king instantly. However, as a top agent, Alan realized the real danger had just begun. The CIA had genetically modified all its agents, requiring them to take 2 special pills weekly, a blue pill for enhanced physical abilities and a green pill to boost brain function. These pills granted agents extraordinary strength and agility, enabling them to withstand extreme cold and leap across vast chasms. Once ready, the CIA deployed these agents to steal foreign intelligence. This notorious project was known as the Human Black Rose Project. When a journalist uncovered the CIA's sinister plan, he exposed the truth on television to erase all traces of the Black Rose Project. The CIA distributed yellow poison pills to all gene-modified agents, claiming they were an upgraded version of the blue and green pills. The agents, trusting the CIA, swallowed the pills as usual, and without exception, they all died. Alan, meanwhile, was undergoing isolated training in the mountains with his team, but it couldn't escape the CIA's drone strike. As Alan ventured out to scout, he spotted the Predator drone and instantly knew he was caught in a high-level conspiracy. To uncover the truth, he had to evade the drone's pursuit, aware that the CIA had implanted trackers in all agents. Alan knew he was a target. He dashed into the mountains, climbed to a high point, and removed his conspicuous jacket. Using a frying pan and tinfoil, he wrapped his face to block the tracker signal. The CIA quickly noticed his tracker signal vanish and switched to remote surveillance to locate Alan. Taking advantage of the confusion, Alan set up a sniper rifle, fired 2 shots at the drone's engine, causing it to crash into the valley. Expecting another drone to follow, Alan prepared a trap. When the tracker was inside the wolf's mouth, the drone targeted it and fired a heat-seeking missile, obliterating the wolf and deceiving the CIA. Returning to his cabin, Alan found all his spare pills destroyed in the explosion. Without the pills, his strength and intellect would drastically decline within a week, eventually leaving him comatose. Recalling his participation in CIA drug experiments, he decided to risk returning to the lab to find more pills. However, the lab had been purged, and the agents forced Shirley to fake her suicide. As the enemy pulled the trigger, Alan burst in. The enemy opened fire, forcing Shirley to the attic while Alan dashed to the basement. The enemy split up to pursue them. Alan found a fire extinguisher, jammed a nail into the nozzle, and ambushed the enemy, knocking them out with the extinguisher spray. After dealing with the enemy, he climbed to the 2nd floor, rescuing Shirley. Knowing the CIA would soon erase the scene, he doused the house with gasoline and set it ablaze, faking their deaths. Shirley was shocked to learn Alan was seeking the blue and green pills. Alan quickly understood the CIA's control scheme. If the green pills could be replaced with a virus, the blue brain-enhancing pills must also have an alternative. Shirley confirmed his suspicion but revealed that a day earlier, CIA assassins disguised as researchers had kidnapped the lab staff. Their only chance was to reach a pharmaceutical plant in the Philippines to find a substitute virus for the blue pill. Alan forged fake passports, and they boarded a flight to the Philippines. The enemy, monitoring airport footage, identified them and dispatched top assassins to pursue them. At the pharmaceutical plant, unaware of the danger, Shirley, posing as a researcher, brought Alan inside and injected him with the substitute virus. But the enemy alerted the plant, ordering them to stop Alan. Though it was already too late, the virus caused unforeseen side effects. As they prepared to leave, the CIA ordered the plant guards to intercept them. Realizing their cover was blown, Alan subdued the guards and escaped with Shirley. The guards sealed all exits, and Shirley's access card was deactivated. Alan broke into the production area, shot the power supply, causing chaos, and escaped with Shirley in the crowd. The enemy believed they couldn't have gone far. Alan soon experienced severe side effects, falling into a feverish delirium. Shirley hid him in a motel and went to buy medicine. She saw the enemy heading to the motel and tried to warn Alan by shouting from the street, but she couldn't get close. Alan, barely conscious, heard her and climbed over the wall to the roof. The assassin was the most successful product of the CIA's gene modification program, a heartless killing machine. Alan, still recovering, avoided confrontation, grabbed a motorcycle, and sped into traffic with Shirley. Trying to lose the assassin, the killer seized a police car and gave chase.